everybody.
Oh, and there is our friend backstage.
Hey, we got a backstage
So we were going
friend.
to go ahead and pull our backstage friend on camera here. We're gonna add him to the stream. Oh, that's not right.
We got the wrong one. Use this one.
Little Alan. And we're gonna make him Big Alan.
Hey, Alan.
And
hopefully
there
this
is
works. Okay, there we go.
Alan, aka Comic Collector Geek. And for those of you who are not aware, you can find Alan on YouTube if you look up Comic Collector Geek. As a matter of fact, he just recently did a discussion at a
panel.
Panel at a comic book show where he talked about the notion of the innocent, which he has a lot of knowledge about that particular subject, being so heavily into Golden Age comic books. So if you've never seen it, go ahead and check him out there, and you can find him on Instagram as well.
Yeah, and Alan is a long-time friend of the channel. We haven't talked to him in a while, though. Things have been crazy.
It's been a while.
It all ends, but we love.
I had a little bit of trouble getting in, by the way. I couldn't
get it
to work. It took me like 15 minutes to get it to work.
Really?
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like, oh, this is got plenty of time. I should be able to get in, but
that's weird. That's wonky. But again, comic book related discussion, and if you all behave yourself, there may be some show and tell.
You know good that Alan gonna do show and tell.
I'll grab some books. I was gonna grab books when we had the 10-minute kind of pre thing, but I didn't get a chance. So but I'll grab some books. I have a couple books around me that I can grab. So
absolutely, because Alan loves his show and tell, and you can see a lot of that on his channel, and he has
a lot of unboxings and stuff like that. He has a massive collection, and also if you ask him to show certain books, he will, and he's very good about that. So I like just asking him to see books, because I'm like, okay, I'll never get it, so show me your books, and I can live.
Actually, you got one book that I was like that I was really trying to get for a while, and I finally got it, and I was so excited to get it. It was the shock suspense stories that you have.
Oh, which one?
The drug one.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
I was so jealous of you for a while. I was like, I gotta get that book.
But you got the real one. I got the reprint.
Oh, I thought yours was the real one.
No.
Oh man.
But I love it anyway.
It's a cool book. It's a very cool book.
Did you read the story?
Not yet. No, not yet. I gotta catch up on my reading. I'm like 20,000 books behind.
There's another story in there that I think is a little bit better than the drug story. It's the one is a husband and wife, and they had a baby, and the baby was kidnapped, and then later on, I can't remember how right now, but they get the baby back through some like crazy means, and then they realize later on that that's the baby that was kidnapped. But it's crazy. You have to read it, because they I can't even remember how the baby got kidnapped now, but their baby got kidnapped, and then some years later they were able to get the baby back through some weird means. Yeah, but it's a crazy, all of the stories in there. It's like I think 3 stories. They're all crazy.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, they have some pretty messed up stuff that happens in EC Comics. That's pretty fun.
She did bin pick the Cocaine Comics Devilhead book not too long ago, though.
Oh wow, that's actually a hard book to find.
Yeah,
that's like an awesome book. I mean, it's like it's just so over the top, right?
It's so bizarre. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But getting off, and a lot going on in the comic industry, and a lot of stuff a lot of people are griping about in the comic industry, but what are you going to do without
you got to gripe a little bit just because it gets the clicks, right?
I guess so. And that's a big thing on YouTube recently too, and it's just like, oh, give me a break. There's a lot of negative that comes with that. That comes with that. It's really not worth it in the end. It's not sustainable, You can only keep that up for so long.
There's only so many bridges you can burn before you have nowhere to go.
Yeah, so, and then people lose interest, and then suddenly nobody's watching anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like, how low do you need to go for clicks and views? Because ultimately, yeah, you'll get the views, but are they coming to see your books, or are they coming to hear you gripe and complain, or tear somebody else down? And then you still have to deal with the consequences of the negative comments, because no matter what you say, oh, it's just comments, oh, it's just a big fat guy in his mama's basement. The words still hurt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It still leaves a lasting.
There's still real people at the end of the
exactly. End, so it's like, do I lower myself to get more views, or do I keep a good quality channel and put out content? Yeah, I don't have as many viewers, but I have faithful viewers.
Yeah.
And they love my content, they love my books. I can interact with them. You know, they send me a question about something, I can answer them or do a whole video, and you know, hopefully it'll draw more people in. But I don't know. I just don't like that, because I know how it feels to be on the receiving end of just down talk. You know, it just keeps you up at night.
Personally, I think, you know, the one thing I think the community really is demanding, and the reason why some of these drama videos do well, is if you look at the comic, people that read comics are generally kind of geeky, smart people, you know, like that really like to have their minds kind of be like, you know, thought provoked, you know, like where they kind of like to think about stuff. So I think what it is when there's drama, people are engaged in that idea of some kind of like multiple sides that you can take on that issue, right? You can either agree with the guy that's instigating, or you can be.
Uh-oh, we lost Alan.
Oh, he's back. Sorry. Or can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear and see you now.
He said something that offended Trudeau.
Can you still hear me?
That the bot had to check real quick.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? No, I think Alan can't hear us, but we can see and hear him.
Alan lost his audio.
Oh no, Alan lost his audio.
Alan, I think he's lost his audio.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
We hear you.
We hear you.
Oh, Alan's fine. He probably
he's
gonna
jump back in.
But let's say hello to some people.
I see Munin is here, and Nerd, and Mickle Stapler. Austin is here. Blue Splash. As we catch up, let me get Alan back in here.
Sorry about that.
Let's see if he can hear us now.
You can hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. And
so whenever somebody calls, it messes up my stream.
I see.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. But yeah, that's what happens with you set the bar low, you have nowhere to go but down, and then eventually, like I said, it's not sustainable.
Well, so my point is, like, I think a lot of the comic collectors like to think about things and have like put out their opinions on things and like hear other people's opinions, and so drama kind of feeds into that the best or easiest, the most kind of low level way of doing that. But I think a better approach is maybe the approach that you guys take often, where you engage people on ideas that are bigger. You know, like things like restoration versus non-restored books, or CGC versus CBCS, or those kind of like things where people can each set their opinions on it, where they can talk about it, and and maybe sometimes butt heads on it, because people like to they like that little comic battles or something, back and forth. Yeah, so I think that is what people are looking for. But people that sort of do the drama videos, they found the lowest common denominator, kind of the easiest kind of way to get those kind of conversations started. And I think that's kind of lazy. It's almost like lazy writing. I don't know. So I think if other YouTubers just sort of say, okay, well, we can do better than that. We can create real discussion, real kind of things about the comics themselves and more about the hobby. I think would be better. If you want to say that modern books suck, like that, put that topic out there and let people kind of put their feedback on it, or the Silver Age is the best, or Golden Age is the best. Those kind of topics I think are better, and people will have very strong opinions on them.
Of course.
Like, yeah, I think, and that's really what all this is about at the end of the day. People want to hear those strong opinions.
And we saw a huge blow up of that, like about almost 2 years ago in the toy collecting channels, where they got to feuding, because that digresses to feuding between channels at some point. And then and now we're kind of seeing that building up in some of these comic related channels as well, to where we're at the point of, okay, we're going to start taking jabs at each other.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of in the past, I had a couple of channels try to rope me into something like that, and I just basically ignored them. And they were big channels too, of like 5-6 times the subscribers that we have.
Wow.
One of them even went so far as to put memes of me on Facebook group, making fun of me.
Oh, really?
I'd love to see those. That'd be fun.
And I'm like, who the hell is this? And I'm looking, and it's like, he's got like 58,000 subscribers. Why is he? What the hell are you doing?
Why is he punching down someone?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't, I didn't even bother, and it just kind of disappeared. Yeah, it just gave up, I guess, because
if you don't feed the trolls end up starving, right?
Oh,
Alan, I'm gonna step out for a minute.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry, but David I'll be back in probably about 30 minutes. So I gotta go pick up something real quick. It just popped up, but I'll be back in a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Somebody
don't show books until I get back.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Somebody just sent her an offer on a record lot, and they're ready to go. That's what it is.
A what?
A record lot, because we collect vinyl records too.
Yeah, you guys collect everything.
Yeah, and
like, I'm not a collector. You guys are collectors. Like, you guys have crazy collection. It's awesome.
She got this like stupid crazy deal on some vintage vinyl records, and she's gonna go run out and get it now, which I hate, because I hate when she goes by herself. I prefer if I'm there, but
that's something I was always interested in. Are vinyl records still, like, I when they were actually in production and in like the common thing, that I could understand people collecting them back then, but now that it's an old technology, where it's obsolete, I mean, records are actually considered obsolete, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of audio files, and the thing is, if you listen to a CD or a digital rendering and then listen to the vinyl, you can tell a difference. And a lot of people have caught on to that. So we do go to the record shows. New vinyl really doesn't move. If you go, because you go to whatever, like Walmart or Best Buy or Target, like we have here, and they'll have like a section, they'll have like a 5-foot section with vinyl records, and people are like, vinyl's coming back. No, it's not. Because once upon a time when we were kids, a vinyl record store was the size of Walmart and full of vinyl records.
I remember like the big record stores, and it's just like massive.
Like Sam Goody or Tower Records, place like that. The Tower Records in Boston was like 4 floors. It was massive. But then, your limited edition 500 pressings sold out. No shit. Basically, of course it did. But back in our day, if they couldn't get 500,000 pressings out of something, they didn't even want to bother to make the album. But if you go to the shows, like we go to the vinyl record shows, they're big shows and they are packed. It is wall to wall people digging for the old records, digging for old vinyl. And there are people.
Now, is it a hobby that is getting gradually aged out? Is it kind of like where there's still like, or is it like young collectors getting into it? Is it still a vibrant community?
It's a good mixture of ages. It's not just, because we've also been to the model train shows. I swear everybody there was 80. But but we go to those shows and there's young people there, including teenagers. It's kind of surprising, but because that's not what you expect. But then
because they would even,
and they're
like,
digging.
They were born after vinyls were gone. It's like,
and they're digging, and they're in there digging the bins. And Hill
Wow.
says they remember Tower Records in Boston. Used to have incredible.
Yeah, I remember
deals.
Tower Records.
Yeah,
Tower Records was awesome.
So yeah, the old, I'd say new vinyl, it's a niche. Old vinyl, it seems like there's a lot of people still interested in it.
And now, is it still where the market is strong enough where the prices are kind of continually going up, and it's a strong collectible hobby? Or
yeah, because of the scales. And you think grading with comics is a pain in the butt? Vinyl records are graded too, and
oh wow,
yeah, there's a scale for it, and you're not just grading the vinyl, but the jacket.
yeah, of course,
you're
of course.
gonna have
Well, I figure
Yeah,
the
you're
jacket
gonna
is
have-
kind of like the cover of the comic, right?
And some people, they just put stuff out, and you can just kind of gauge, okay, that's about what this is worth, sort of thing. And there are some people that are dealers that are really detailed. Like you'll go in there and they'll have like 30 copies of the same Kiss album from the 70s, and he's got the grade scales written on on stickers on the front of the album and whatever.
Do they have cases? Like, is it like CGC kind of situation, or?
I have not seen it at any show, but they do grade vinyl records.
And is it like okay, when I remember back in the day when you get the vinyl record, there was always the plastic wrap, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd rip that off, and then you could, take your record out.
Yeah.
Is that part of the what's considered a complete record, where it has to be in the vinyl, that plastic wrap around the thing?
It doesn't need the cellophane
At all?
No, I mean they'll put it in a new one, but if original cellophane, it really only matters if it's sealed. Although some people will get nostalgic for it if you've got the original cellophane still on it and it has like price stickers on it and something like that.
Yeah.
And I've got a few like that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. This used to cost $2.99. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
This came from such and such record store. There's a niche for that also, but the cellophane doesn't need to be on there unless it's a sealed record. And unless it's a collector who just wants a sealed record, a lot of those guys don't like that because they'll open it and they want to play it, but you can't be 100% sure on the condition of a sealed record, because if it's somebody,
it can warp or something, or
you know how they always have them standing up. If you turn it on its side and stack them over time, they'll warp. Or depending upon what the material is, and this happens a lot, it's called ghosting. If there's like a vinyl coating inside that sleeve, it will permanently damage that vinyl record.
Oh wow!
So a lot of times they don't really,
and you can't crack open, you can't press them. It's not like comics.
They do have a machine that you can press warps out of.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's expensive as hell. The thing, you'll spend a lot on it, but yeah, they do have a machine that they'll bake that warp out of it. But yeah, unless they just really want a sealed copy, which can be very expensive. A lot of collectors, they're scared of them because
you never know what's inside.
Yeah, most of them, they actually want to hear the album.
And if wouldn't playing because in theory, when the needle is going across the record, you're actually damaging the record to a certain extent.
Yeah, you could, and you got to change that record. You got to change the needle regularly too, because if when the diamond tip wears out, you can start digging into that groove and it'll affect the sound.
That's my point. So wouldn't playing the record or the number of times you play the record affect the value of the record?
It could. And I've actually seen sleeves. There's a sleeve that you can put your record in that actually has check boxes on it to mark how many times you've listened to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in case anybody's
very worried. Cool. I mean, I don't really know much about that that whole hobby. All I remember was there was a few Beatles ones that were really, really valuable, like the baby one, and there was some one where they put some cover over some other cover.
Yeah, it's because Lennon and Yoko were naked on it and they wanted to cover it up.
Yeah.
That's the one. And Fiddle Chips is saying hi to you.
Oh, hey, Fiddle Chips. I saw K Munin as well. Like these are like my regulars.
There's a few
That
people.
always...
Yeah, there's a few people in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a whole interesting.
We're talking totally not on about comics.
I know what happened. We were supposed to be talking about comics.
But I just find it fascinating. I feel like there is a collector genetic like thing going on, like where you know, and whether you go into comics or go into whatever, there's still that curiosity about what it is about that hobby that people are looking for and trying to understand, right?
Yeah,
so
well,
I feel like I have that.
If you're seriously into whatever you're doing as far as your collecting habits, even if you're not interested in getting involved in somebody else's niche, it's still, you can still appreciate it, and it can still be fascinating to you. You like, you know, you don't collect cap guns, for example, but a guy's got a big cap gun display, and it's like, oh well, tell me about that. You know, you wanna get a feel,
understand it. And the funny thing is, there's a lot of crossover between the different collecting. You know, obviously it's like a lot of the same stuff, right? It's condition, it's rarity, it's coolness factor. You know, there's all these things that kind of impact the value of things.
And you'll see that like the records again, for example, you'll see that with people who are toy and comic collectors, because they sell the records at the show. You'll find records from vintage cartoons. You'll find records from shows that they're familiar with. People are, you know, hot for the $6 Million Man records or G.I. Joe, because they had
the Smurfs.
Yeah, see,
and the Muppet Show.
Like, this can go with my toys, or this can go with my comics, or the G.I. Joe ones might be a book and record set. Hey, that's a comic book, you know?
Yeah.
So it is. They're comics. The book and record.
I had a bunch of those book and record ones as a kid. I loved them. I play them and look through the book, and I always liked they would have that little ding, you know, like as you're reading through the book, it'd be like,
turn
you know,
the page.
Turn the page.
Yeah.
I love that. So yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, and there, like I said, there is grading for records. I've never seen them at any of the shows, but I know that it's done. They grade cassette tapes now too.
Wow. I mean, if somebody's willing to pay to get it graded, I guess there's a grading company that will do it.
I don't know how that is aftermarket. I do know somebody who did that as an experiment and got sealed cassette tapes and sent them in to be graded and then flipped them. But it cost so much by the time they flipped them, they really didn't make anything, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that you see that in the comic market as well. You see stuff graded a really high grade, and it's not anything anybody really cares about. And then it sells for like practically nothing. It sells for less than it would have cost to grade the foolish thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times where you can buy coolish comics, not like just a nice cover, and generally that's what you're buying, where it's cheaper than the cost of the slab.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that was a waste of resources.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Well, while we're
actually, I bought a New Mutants #1.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a super high grade. It was like an 8.5 or 9. It was like some, you know, mid grade, like mid to high grade, I should say. But I paid like $19 for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, why not at that point?
Like that it has to be at least a 9.8, or nobody's going to take it seriously, especially that late copper or modern age, that like aluminum age stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It's like, but yeah, I mean, I'm personally one of those people that likes having books in a slab.
Sure.
Just for the display elements. So I love buying those low cost slabs. I just think it's cool.
And then certain books also, you know, it's a preservation thing as well. The older books, because a lot of people don't like that at all. You already know the arguments. And my attitude is grade it or don't, you know, whatever. I've got both. It's whatever makes you happy. It's not hurting anybody.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, like, we were talking about controversy at the beginning, and the amount of people that really like get upset about graded comics is it's funny, like how serious they take it. Like, oh, you're putting it in a coffin, you gotta smell the book, you gotta, you know, you touch it and all this kind of stuff, and they get really upset about the slabs.
Go ahead.
I get like hate comics all the time about it.
Get your greasy fingers all over the book. Rub your Cheeto dust on it. Go ahead. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's but for me, I see these almost as like especially with books I collect as historical documents.
Yeah.
You know, and
it is a piece of history.
You want to protect that history, right? So that's, and also in a slab, it does make it so that it can present, and it does establish that grade, right? That, you know.
It does help with that, and that's what brought it into the market in the first place, was people nitpicking over grade, because it can affect prices drastically. I'm sitting there and you're a dealer and I'm buying for you, and I'm like, no, this looks like an 8.5 to me, and he's like, no, it's a 9 or a 9.2, and the difference is like hundreds of dollars, maybe, depending upon the title. And if it's in a slab, you can't argue too much. You can't argue much.
Like maybe it was a less mature market when I was collecting in the 90s, but I found that people really didn't get into those very, defined grades. Like, it was either like low grade, and low grade meant really low grade. It was like beat. Then there was mid grade, and then there was high grade.
Yeah.
Right.
And you might have somebody, fine, very fine. They used to do it that way.
I've seen that a little bit, but really it was like
wasn't there.
Yeah, most of the time when I was buying comics, maybe because I'm buying modern at that time, like modern for the 90s.
Yeah.
Maybe that it didn't really matter as much. I really didn't get into Golden Age until much later in terms of buying stuff. But yeah, I just remember everyone always saying mid, low, mid, and high. And when you have that much fuzziness, it makes it easier. Like it's either obvious that it's low, obvious that it's mid, or obvious that it's high.
Yeah. And then the other thing also was, and a lot of people probably discovered it the hard way, was that grading will reveal if there's been restoration you've missed.
Yeah.
And that's because it was going on back in those days. I was doing cleaning and pressing before they had grading, with New England Comics. But there were people that would, I didn't do it, but there's people that would trim or swap staples. Things like that were happening even then. And
they would brag about it. It wasn't like it was that. It wasn't even hidden. I remember like people like saying, "Oh, look, I made this comic look so much better." Like, look, I got my Sharpie out, and it's like, they filled in those little creases, and that was like really common. I never did it with my comics because I was maybe too lazy or something, but I just I knew so many people that did that.
Yeah, I didn't mind cleaning them up, but I didn't want to alter it. I felt weird about altering it.
Yeah, but I especially the trimming. I think that was pretty common because if you get like a frayed edge, a lot of the comics, the cover will do that slight overhang. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the overlap.
Yeah, and then what happens is you get that fraying that happens, and then that will actually go right into the cover if you let it stay there, right? So if you chop it, get rid of that overhang, which is the worst thing to do according to CGC. You're protecting the book actually from falling apart.
Yeah.
But it's also trimming it, so
it's also trimming. Gilgamesh says, is swapping staples a bad thing? If you could do it without ruining the book, wouldn't it be a good thing? Well,
especially rusted staples. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but if it's something that's not original to the book, then you've altered it, and they don't like that. They don't like that.
Well, they really don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's kind of weird. There's a bunch that don't make sense to me, actually. Like, they're fine with tape.
Yeah.
But then they're not fine with other things that just...
Well, like removing tape. You can put tape on, you just can't take it off.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And now, thinking on those terms, because a lot of people are they put a lot of trust into these grading companies. There's this whole big hullabaloo recently about CGC apparently bending books, where they're putting
I think they've sorted that out.
They're getting ticks. A lot of people have been whining about that, and it's been a while since I've gotten anything graded. I've never had a problem really, getting anything back, and I'm like, hey, what the hell is this? The closest I ever got was incorrect labeling. It was a book that was a limited edition of 25 copies, and they put 50, and I'm like, that's not right. Something like that. But aside from that,
I've had incorrect labels as well, where they said it's just like they said it's issue number 2 when it's actually number 1. Like things like that.
Yeah, so I know that's been a big thing recently, but you say they've kind of got that ironed out now.
Well, yeah, I think they fixed the problem. What I think was happening was probably my guess. This is just my guess because they're not telling what really happened, and they're not really even claiming responsibility for it. They kind of brush it under the rug. But what I think was happening is when the CGC slabbing process is really, you're actually double encapsulating it. You're putting it in that inner well first, and then you're putting the case around that well. I think what was happening is when they were putting in that inner well, the machine probably a little bit off kilter, and when it's sealing it, it was probably kind of, just if it was just a little bit off kilter, it's kind of crushing the book in a weird way. And I think that was probably, they probably have many, many machines that are doing this, but if there's like one machine that's off kilter,
who knows how many books off of that run, because they sure do press a lot of books. They press a lot.
It's just in that encapsulation process. So because they were getting 9/8, but obviously they're no longer a 9/8 because of the
if it's a color breaking tick, you can't fix that.
Well, and it looked like some of the bends were pretty serious. Like I actually drop it down to like an 8.5 or something,
I saw a few videos on it because people were up in arms about it for a little while there. But what are you gonna do? Also, I know that CGC is going to start confirming autographs now, right? Pre-autographed merchandise.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be huge.
It is huge because that's the one thing that differentiated all the other grading companies.
PBCS and
PGX would do it. EGS would do it. Going all the way down the scale, they would all verify autographs, but not CGC, and that pulls it might pull a big market share from the other grading companies.
I think it definitely will. Also, it'll make people kind of take all their green label books and then resubmit them and get that proper gold label.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Are they doing it as a gold label, or are they doing it as some hybrid? Or
I forget. I mean, they are doing because they were like, I saw some kind of label variation because it's associated with the grading company that they're partnered with. Or the authentication company. So there is a variation in the label, but I don't recall exactly what it is.
Because like to me, a gold label would be like a witnessed signature, whereas this other, whatever the label is going to be, would be like authenticated label.
However they plan on doing that. But I mean, that's why that's one of the main things that, because this book signed all over the place from God knows how long ago. And everybody had to go to CGC or no, CBCS or PGX or whoever to get authentication if they wanted to grade the book. And now anyone who has any of those slabs might be tempted to crack them out and send them into CGC now.
Of course.
To try to do that. Gilgamesh is curious how much it costs to grade a book on average.
It really depends on what the book is. So modern books, I think it's like $25.
Yeah.
And then the shipping costs. Golden Age books or older or higher tier, there's like, it depends on what you're sending, right? At that point. I think it's like over $100 for some of these more golden age-ish books.
Yeah, and then of course CGC has that like sliding scale too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I really don't like the percentage scale thing. I think
I
that's
bet.
like I have so many books that I would get graded, but it's just so cost prohibitive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just remember when have you watched any of my Steven and me shows, like where we were both on it?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
So there was it was actually, it was funny at the time, but sad at the time as well. We did a video where we did a CGC unboxing, you know,
I
like
remember him
where,
talking about how much he was paying for some of those.
and he paid like, it was like
Yeah,
almost like $5,000 just to get the grading done. And it
yeah.
was like, and it was not even that many books. You'd think, oh, that's like a lot of books or something like that. It was like
No.
maybe 6 books. It was like, oh my goodness, what are you talking about here? It's like such a ripoff.
Yeah, it seems that way. It seems that way, and that's the one thing that they really get away with
Yeah,
because the other companies don't really do that. I don't think
yeah.
any of
Well,
the other ones do that, do they?
I mean, it's just I don't, I think they're the only ones doing it where they have that percentage.
Yeah,
Um, I mean,
and
but it
somehow
just
they're
does.
still number one.
Yeah, they're still number one, and it's nobody's like, oh, isn't that a kind of a conflict of interest that you can say that this book is now worth more,
Yeah,
and that we'll charge you more because that we said that this book is worth more.
yeah,
You
and
know,
that's just. And then if you were getting it graded for the purpose of reselling it, now you have to factor that in too. And then are
yeah,
you really still making a lot of money on this if you had to pay a fortune to get it graded? I don't
yeah. I
know.
mean,
You know, I guess it depends. I mean, if it's going to be Fantastic Four #1 and a 9.6 maybe, but because you saw that recently, right? That Fantastic Four #1 9.6.
yeah.
It,
What happened?
was it Heritage or somebody? It got over $2 million.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. That was the big sale that just happened.
And more than that, even because people don't realize when they talk about that, that there's a buyer's premium that's going to get tacked onto that too, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was
So
it $2 million hammer price, or was it $2 million like with buyer's premium?
I don't remember. I thought that was the bid price, 2 million
Okay.
and something. But I was just like, oh, give me a break. But I mean, and then how much did that cost to get graded?
Well, that's the
At a
question.
9.6, yeah. I mean, what did they really make any extra money? It's kind of like on these home shows. You know, watch these like reality shows. Oh, we're gonna fix her up her house or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're trying to sell your house, and you spend 100,000 in repairs on your home, and then you make an extra 140,000. No, you didn't. you,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
you
Make
didn't.
40,000.
Yeah, and then you're gonna lose that in the taxes. So, I mean,
Well, that's one good thing about Canada. We don't pay taxes on house sales, so
Oh, that's something.
that's the one good thing about Canada. I can only can't really think of anything else right now.
Well, it costs so
Um,
much, it would just defeat the purpose.
yeah, yeah. No, it's like I mean, if you're yeah, with home renovations, if you're not enjoying those renovations,
Yeah.
don't bother unless it's a real issue and it's preventing you from selling, right?
Yeah, I
But
guess so.
but it's the same with comics. You know, it only makes sense to grade a book if the costs will increase the value that much that you'll get your value out of it, right?
Yeah, I would think so. But some of these, you have no idea what kind of number they're going to throw on you. And
Yeah.
Gilgamesh is saying, Gilgamesh suggests that percentage scale costing is straight up crooked. It shouldn't cost more to do the same
Exactly.
procedure. Does it say they take better care of more expensive books? Sure doesn't seem like it.
No, no. So
We've seen some
personally, I could understand the following. Like, I could understand a slight tier system where if it's a modern book, probably the amount of effort you have to do is pretty minimal.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a more older book, maybe you have to handle it a little bit more carefully. You know, maybe there's a little bit more like knowledge that's required to understand the book, you know,
Uh-huh.
whatever way. But that'd be it. That'd be the
Yeah.
level. So do you really And maybe for the really, like, I mean, action ones or the big, really big books, maybe a bit of a premium for those, where you say, well, we got to insure it. You know, we got to get our top graders involved or something special. Maybe I could understand that.
I don't know if I've ever heard them justify it. I don't know if I've ever heard CGC talk about it.
No, I don't think it's just a made up thing, right? They're just like, oh, we can get away with it, so let's do it.
It's not in their grading book. You've got the copy of their grading book, don't you?
Well, I've seen their forums about it.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have like a.
You don't have a copy of it? I know. No. Who is it? Arkham Comics, because we talked to him and from Las Vegas. He got a copy of the book and he just had a meltdown. He said because
what was inside it?
He's a hardcore Overstreet grader. Okay. So the way that they do it, he was just not happy. Like, for example, that smells don't count. And I'm like, they should.
That could imply mold, right?
Yeah. Or, I mean, anything. Yeah, I think they should count. But he had a meltdown over it. It's pretty funny. Munin says that they believe that Stephen got raked over the coals, that the books were harshly graded.
It was not just that they were harshly graded. That was one issue, but the other issue was that some of them were restored when he didn't expect them to be restored.
Oh,
that was the hard thing. So not only did he pay a lot of money, but then he paid a lot of money on a restored book. You know, it's like doubly bad. It's like,
wow.
Yeah, he was. I think, you know, seeing a grown man cry is not a good thing sometimes.
Yeah, I know it. And while we're on it, the other big panic was the 9, 9, and 10 grades now.
Yeah.
Everybody is up, and they've really.
They have every right to be up in arms about it. Actually. Yeah. I really do feel like they have every right to be up in arms about it. Because what's going to happen is everyone that basically invested in buying that 9.8 is
now they're going to be curious.
Well, it's not just that they'll be curious. Yeah. It's all of a sudden what's going to happen is, you know, that used to be the top grade, really. At the end of the day, like there were maybe occasional 9.9s or occasional 10s.
Mostly modern books.
Yeah.
For those, yeah.
But now that 9.9 is going to put into question the value of your 9.8. What's going to happen is, I think what will happen is there'll be a shift where the 9.8 values will kind of come into the 9.9 tier, or the 9 or the 10 tier even, where all of a sudden people who bought 9.9s or 9.8s were thinking that they were buying at the top of the grades, but then realize now they're not at the top of the grades, where they, you know, and that does affect value, because you would have like a triple, like from a 9.6 to 9.8, you'd have like 2-3 times the value between those two grades. Now you're probably going to have less of a jump between those two grades, and the 9.9s will now have that amplification. It'll just shift up, and any 9.9s that were out there, that will actually go down in value, because what was happening before, from what I understood, was CGC was not looking for 9.9s or 10s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think if there was some really, really exceptional book, they would say, hey, maybe we should, you know, give this a 9.9 or 10. But now that they're deliberately looking for it, well, there's certain books that are on the census that have literally thousands of 9.8s.
Yeah.
And, you know, how many of those are really 9.9s or 10s? Probably a fair number.
That's what I was thinking. It's like a lot of people now, and that's it's another grab from CGC, because they know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to crack those and send them back in and see if they can pull a 9.9 or a 10 out of it.
Well, before, you know, like there might be only one 9.9 on the census. Yeah. You know, and therefore it was like selling for 10 times what a 9.8 would sell for. You know, some crazy, you know, disparity. Well, all of a sudden 10 9.9s appear on the census, or 100 9.9s appear on the census, because there could be, right?
Yeah.
what's that going to do the value of the 9.9? And was that going to do the value of the 9? You know, it's just going to be like it's going to kill the value throughout the comic. I just see it as a bit of a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, I mean, hey, that's what happens when BlackRock buys you out. But
yeah, exactly.
Because they don't care. It's like how much can we squeeze out of this? Let's go, let's go, let's go. And that's why they're grading pulps now. You know, CGC.
Yeah. Actually, I like the fact that they're grading pulps. Actually, I'm a big fan of that. I hate pulps. I love and hate pulps at the same time.
They have some fantastic artwork, some of them.
The artwork is really amazing.
Yeah.
Get that thing in a case so that it's not like dusting up the room. They're so gross. I think pulps are gross. Like they're pulpy. I hate the smell. I hate the texture of them.
No.
And like if you try to read them, they just like it's just like that dusty kind of gross experience. So I just really like them in a case. Get them in a case. They're a beautiful thing.
There you go.
Probably like all the pulp guys will be like, you know, sending me death threats after this. But I think their covers are amazing. You know, some of the best covers are actually, I think pulps have better covers than comics in a lot of cases.
Yeah. They are impressive looking. It was just a matter of time because they're grading everything. I'm waiting for them to start grading 8-track cassettes if they haven't already. Because they're grading everything, toys and action figures they've been doing, but I don't like that at all. But there's there's other reasons for that. Aside from the fact there's really only one company doing it, they've been under a lot of scrutiny because of their associations with certain sellers. And it's expensive. It's expensive. You don't know what you're getting into because all different shapes and sizes, and you know they have to literally almost everything has to have like a custom case.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially toys. It's like there's no standardization unless you're talking about action figures. Maybe
there's a few like carded figures like Mattel Battlestar Galactica and 3 3/4 inch Mego and the Star Wars and the G.I. Joe will all fit in the same size. But you know, other things, you're all over the place. I mean, you can just look back here and you can see.
I mean, they're all over the place. Yeah.
It's hard to even find these cases that work with more than one figure.
Yeah, I mean that's why comic books make sense, right? Because it's the same. There's standardization of the size, right?
Or trading cards, most of them are the same size.
I think trading cards are actually the easiest thing to grade.
Yeah.
You know, because like you only have 2 sides, and it's a small thing. It's, but yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about grading? Do you like getting your comics graded, or do you like more the natural?
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, it's some things, but often the expense will hold me back. The expense will hold me back on it because it does add up fast. And there are books that I would like to get graded that I just want to preserve their condition. So I don't have a problem with it at all. But, you know, I've got mostly raw books.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. I think most people have mostly raw books just because of the cost. But when buying older books, I prefer to buy graded just because there's just too many potential issues, especially because I'm not buying in person, right? You know, so I can't count the pages. I can't check the defects. And just knowing that it is complete, probably, you know, if it says it's complete-ish, maybe, you know, and that it's sort of the grade that it says it is, maybe, you know, like, I sort of trusting the grading company to protect me.
Hopefully they didn't overlook that missing value stamp.
Exactly, yeah. So, but it's in the slab. I'm not going to take it out of the slab, so I'll never know anyways. So, but you know, there is that, right, where I feel a little bit safer buying the book.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because I have bought books where I'm like, no way is it that what you said it is, and there's things that are missing from this book. I'm like, I felt so ripped off.
Sure.
And so upset about it, you know. So that's another reason why I generally buy graded books if I can. So yeah, but
Gilgamesh wanted to know if they charge you, if you know what you're going to pay beforehand, or if they up that cost after they're finished. When they
up
go,
the cost after they finish.
Yeah, they sneak
which
up
is
on
crazy. It's like
Wait,
I think of it as
I
like I can't think of any other business where that is the case. Like you even like we everyone always complains about mechanics and like where they're coming up with these numbers, right? But at least they'll give you a quote. It might be a crazy quote, but at least they'll give you a quote and they'll stick to that number. So whether you'll say, okay, well, really, do I want to spend that much on, or can I go to some other mechanic and get it done? With this, it's like totally you have no idea what you're going to be spending. It's crazy. Like,
and then what if it turns out to be something super valuable and you get the bill and you're like, oh God, I don't have enough.
Yeah, I know.
Can I get my book?
Yeah. They hold your book hostage or something. Like you'll pay a ransom until you.
Yeah, I could just see that too, sitting at the bank, and the guy's like, let me get this straight. You need to get your books back, comic books, right? Yeah.
I just got to mortgage my house just so I can get my own books back. Yeah, I don't get it. It's like so crazy. Like as I said, like Stephen paid like it was like $5,000. I mean, who has that? After you're just sending books over in like. There was actually an interesting one recently. I'm not sure if you heard about this story where somebody went to a flea market and mixed in with the comics was a Detective 27.
Oh wow. No, I don't think I heard that.
And so he got that graded, obviously. Somebody picked it up, got it, and sent it off to get it graded. Now, what if obviously the vendor at the comic thing probably didn't understand comics, probably didn't know the value of it. But what if they were like, oh, I heard that grading is good, so therefore I'll send off these random comics to CGC, and they say, well, here's a Detective 28. Well, 27. Well, you have to pay us like $30,000 now. It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. I don't know.
I don't know how that would work. And I see Paranoid is here as well as Hank. Glad you could drop in. The other thing that's been coming up a lot lately is that there's going to be more competition because who is it? PSA said they're going to
PSA is getting involved.
Yeah, next year.
But I heard that their cases suck. Like
already. They didn't even start.
Yeah, so what they did was I forgot where it was, one of the cons that they went to, and they were showing their cases. Now their cases are you could probably kill somebody with them because they're so tough and strong, right?
Yeah.
They're very clear, okay. And they also provide UV protection.
Yeah.
So they actually protect the comic, like not just from the elements, but also from the sunlight.
Yeah.
Which is really great. All great stuff. However, they weigh like 2-3 times what a regular case weighs. They're slightly bigger. Okay. Like size dimensionally. So obviously all of a sudden you're not going to be able to fit them in the normal boxes that are for slabs. That's going to cause issues. The weight is going to make it harder for shipping.
Yeah.
They're thicker as well. There's a bunch of things and the labels are different. So instead of like using the standard like blue, purple, gold, the standard labels that we've sort of been trained to accept, they're using the ones that they use for the cards.
Okay.
Which is like orange or brownish color. Like it's like some.
So they're going to create a different standard.
Yeah. And I think that's a mistake. I think
people.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake. People in the cards will get it, but people in the comics won't.
Sure.
You gotta speak the language of your market, right? You gotta.
Yeah.
So, I saw a video. It was like Swaggelhaus actually did it, where he was interviewing a lot of the comic dealers and asking them about these PSA cases, and they I think PSA was being really smart about it, where they went to the convention, they were showcasing these cases to the dealers and getting their feedback. Now, they have to be proactive about that and actually take the advice that was given to them. And I hope if they do, then that'd be great. If they actually take all the stuff into account, make their cases smaller, make them lighter, make them still have those benefits of the UV protection.
Yeah.
And also make it affordable. Like price is one of the considerations, right?
Of course.
And then the quality of the grading has to be there. So one of the dealers that was responding to the PSA thing, he was saying that the guy that's in charge of the grading of these books, he doesn't trust his grading. He doesn't trust him as a individual. So I'm not sure how PSA can respond to that.
Yeah.
Right? Because ultimately, the guy at the top is the one that you got to trust. Because if it says a 9.8 on it, it better be a 9.8, or at least what comic collectors would agree is close to a 9.8.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think, it could be interesting. I'd love to see more competition because CGC is expensive.
Yeah, they are, and that's really the one thing that holds them back. But then, it's the only one that anybody seems to want to buy. If you, because everybody who deals with any kind of graded anything knows that if you got a CGC book and then you got a PGX and a CS and an EGS, they're all going to make less, and they could be the same exact grade, unless it's that CGC slab.
I mean, I've seen enough videos where pretty much like EGX, EGX, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not EGS. I don't know really about them, like per se.
His cases are EV though.
Oh, okay. The UV protected?
They are UV protected, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think why not? I mean, make it.
Yeah, why not? Because he's been working on it. I know a lot of people rank on EGS. That's Anthony.
It's just the grading I'm not so sure about, and the labels aren't there either.
Yeah,
it's again the same problems.
But I'll give Anthony credit because he saw a problem in the market. Instead of crying about it, he actually, because the old joke, well, why don't you just go out and do it yourself?
Why don't you just start $100 million company and do it yourself?
Well, he did. He's trying. I'll give him credit. He took an effort. He took an effort, and he's out there and he's trying. I actually have we interviewed him once, and I've got I'd
love to interview that guy. I'd love to learn more about his cases and stuff.
Yeah, and I
don't really know enough to say either way whether
I got a book done by him, and he will, if you request it, he'll match the label to the color tone of the book, so it all blends together.
That's what I'm saying. He does things like that, which is again, we've become accustomed to the blue, purple, and green. I think it's a mistake in a way to go against the way people think.
I'll give that credit too, though, because the custom labels on like CGC, I hate those. I think they look.
Some of them are cool.
I never cared for them. I think the George Perez one is the worst one.
Oh, it's just his head. Yeah, his head. I have one with the George Perez one. It's just like a poorly sketched head.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, this one's got the custom label, and I'm like, I don't care.
Hey, but it's a really horrible looking custom label.
Most of them don't look good. I don't think so. I mean, there's a couple that are okay, but
that was my issue with EGS as well. I didn't like their custom labels. They look like some kid, like got some clip art from like the 90s or something.
Yeah. Alan, Anthony from EGS, very receptive though. If you reached out to him, he would definitely do an interview with you.
Okay.
Seriously, if you're curious about it, he'll because when I contacted him, he actually emailed me back like in less than 10 minutes. And it was like, sure, what do you got available? Because he's like, and he told me that he does that because he needs to get out there. He needs people to see him. So yeah,
Okay.
he's very receptive.
I'd be totally open to it. Yeah.
And Gilgamesh wanted to know, no, there is no handles or hangables on the back of any slabs. So you've got to get something extra to hang a slab. I recommend.
Well, the way I do it is like so. Like I'm not sure how well you can see it, but the way I do it is so primitive. It's like the most lame way of doing it, but it works.
I recommend Zolo World. Zolo World makes clamshells like these.
Oh, nice.
For CGC slabs that are UV coated. So it fits perfectly in a hang like this. And then you can, it's got the tab on it. You can hang it right on the wall.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, Zolo World, anybody. And Paranoid wants to know if LPH is okay. LPH got an offer she couldn't refuse on a record lot, and she ran out to get it and left me hanging.
So I know where I rank in terms of importance, like below records. So that's where
and speak which, that's her right there. that is LPH. Says
she's up there. She's up there, right?
She's yeah, that's her. I got them on my way back. Thank you, LPH. I'm glad you're letting everybody know that you're okay. That's good, because she started off with me, but then she got the lot, and then she was like, "Oh God, well, Facebook Marketplace. If you don't jump on it, it's gone." So,
yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Like I'm a collector. I get it. Like
sure.
It's like bros before hoes, but it's comics before either.
Comics before anything else.
Yeah.
Modern era stuff. I don't know if you've seen this stuff about the Fantastic Four lately, and I don't mean the movie.
Oh, okay.
The comic book.
To tell you the truth, I really haven't read much modern stuff.
I don't blame you for not reading anything that was printed after 2000, but the modern, because that we can go on and on about this back and forth all day about.
Every time I read one, I'm like, really?
outside of the pretty variant covers, interior art is seriously lacking, and storytelling is desperately lacking. And we both read books all the way back to the Golden Age and beyond, and you can see over the years the dialogue shrinking until we get to where we are now. But Fantastic Four apparently has gone. I hate rehashing the term woke over and over again.
Oh no!
With Johnny Storm and his bestiality now. Can't even describe it. It's some alien that looks like a hybrid between a squid and a centipede. I can't even tell you what it looks like. And it's sexual innuendos in the book. And the argument that's being made on behalf of this is, well, Johnny's been with aliens before. The Skrull woman looks female. That looks humanoid. I don't know what the hell this thing is.
Yeah. They're trying to be more inclusive. Maybe, I think maybe what's going to happen is like in the next year or two, they'll announce that aliens have in fact been with us all along.
Oh God.
And now we have to be more inclusive of them, and they look like total freaks. We could be like, it's maybe just Marvel is ahead of the curve, and you just don't get it.
It's like a centipede, but the legs are like squid or octopus legs instead of stiff. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing that he's like crawling all over in these?
Oh my goodness!
It's been all over Facebook. People are like, what the hell is this? You should have been asking that over the last 2 decades. But
yeah, I mean. They say, oh, the slippery slope.
Yeah.
There's no end. We can go further. We can go
deeper. And that, like I had suggested at the beginning about setting the bar. You set the bar low. All you can do is crawl under it. You can't. You're not going to keep going over. And as a discussion, LPH and I were going to have at some point in the future here about that going on in the whole community anyways, but it's like Andrew Dice Clay is my example of that. Andrew Dice Clay, you remember when he was huge, he could fill a football stadium. And
he was the king of comedy
and be on pay-per-view at the same time. And then just like that, he couldn't get 100 people in a room.
What happened? What did he do that was so bad?
People just got tired of how raunchy he was. It burned out. Again, it's not really sustainable. He got to a point where nobody cared anymore, and then they stopped booking him.
Because I remember way back in the day with Andrew Joyce Clay that they would, my friends would have like little cassettes with recordings of his comedy routines.
Yeah.
And it was like, don't let my parents hear that, like it'd be like that kind of like.
Yeah.
And the same with Eddie Murphy was like that back then.
He could be very raunchy. So could Richard Pryor in concert, because if you look at him in the films versus what he did in concert, it's like two different people.
Yeah.
If he did that, if he was doing acting like that, he wouldn't have gotten far. But it's not sustainable. And I wonder how much longer, because it can be fixed if you start doing decent art and you start doing decent storytelling again and draw people's interest. Pandering like that, or this, to me, this is a shock value thing where people are like, oh my God, can you believe what they did? Let's buy 20 copies.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when I did my presentation about the seduction of the innocent, I actually talked about this very phenomena, that if you look at books from 1954, they had the craziest covers, like severed heads, cannibalization, just crazy stuff, right?
At least it was well drawn.
Yeah, it was well drawn, but my point is, they were trying to, one up. And I think what would have happened if the Comic Code Authority didn't come in, is people would have gotten tired of it, and then something new would have come up where people would just be like, I'm just, it's been done so much, this over the top stuff. Let's have something a little bit more.
Yeah, they would have had to change it.
Yeah, it's the same in the 80s. I remember, I'm a big horror buff, and I remember horror movies in the 80s just being like, guy gets decapitated, blood squirting out. It's just like over the top gore, right? And people got tired of it after a while, right? And then what you have is more sophisticated horror coming up. You know what I mean? So
they progressed from gore to jump scares.
Yes.
Basically, it's
and jump scares actually is more of a traditional form of horror. If you look at like more like the 40s horror, where I actually don't like jump scares, to tell you the truth. Like it's like it does work on me actually, because what they'll do is whenever they do a jump scare, not only do they go boogity boogity, but they'll like make some really loud noise, like some jarring sound, and that's what triggers me, like to go whoa. It's just because they'll play like peaceful music and then like some jarring sound, and then but I actually hate jump scares, but a lot of the older movies were kind of like that. With the not heavy-handed the way that they do it nowadays, but I think with horror movies, actually they went into a new phase where you get movies like The Nun, Annabelle, Conjuring, all produced by the same guy, where it's much more about storytelling, good storytelling.
Yeah, because I don't watch a lot of that anymore.
It's quite good. It's quite good. Those series are generally pretty good.
Because it's only so many times you can see the same thing over and over.
It gets a little bit repetitive.
It's unnecessary. Like Halloween, the first two were two parts of the same story, and that was going to be it. And then they came out with Halloween 3, which was an entirely different format. And people,
I think they're up to Halloween like 10 or something now, right?
Because they were going to do a different story each time, and without Michael Myers. That was just the first two films, and then people were confused when Halloween 3 came out, because Michael isn't in it except in an Easter egg, because they're watching the movie in one scene.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Where's Michael Myers, man? I don't understand." So they brought him back, and it's like, ugh. And there's only so many times you can see an undead creature murder innocent teenagers, and you're just like, I'm done. I don't even want to see it anymore. These people don't even deserve this.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said the newer movies are not quite like that, right? I saw it actually really good. Like, if you like horror movies, I'm not sure how much you like horror movies. I'm a big horror buff. I just saw a movie and I've been telling everybody to go watch it. The Black Phone. Black Phone. It's not really scary particularly, but it is cool.
It sounds familiar. I don't know if I've seen it.
It has Ethan Hawke in it. And basically the story is there's a bunch of kids, you know, it's told from the kids' perspective, right? And their friends keep on going missing. Okay? And they know that somebody in the neighborhood is getting kids, murdering them. Okay? So, but they never find the bodies. They just, kids go disappear. So this one boy, he gets kidnapped, okay, by the guy that's the grabber. They call him the grabber because they don't know who it is that's doing this. They call him, he's abducted by the grabber. And what the grabber does is he puts the kids into the basement, okay? And he basically either starves them to death or murders them once they act out of line, okay? Mm-hmm. And he's a psychopath. He murders the kids all the time. And so this boy is trapped in this kind of concrete room, and there's just a bed, a toilet, and on the wall is a black phone. Okay? And the phone is disconnected. It's there. So the first thing he does when he's trapped in this room is he goes to see, does the phone work? Can I call for help? And then he sees it's disconnected. Okay? But one night when he's trapped in this basement room, he hears the phone ring. So he picks it up and he's like, is somebody there? Like, what's going on? And it's the voices of the kids that were murdered. And they're telling him how to get out of the room.
I see.
And it's really cool. Like he finds all of the ways that they attempted to try to get out of the room. And so it's cool. And he uses all their knowledge to try to get out and get free. It's a cool movie.
All right. No, I don't think I've seen that.
It's definitely worth watching. It's a cool one. I like creepy kind of, I like horror movies a lot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just got burned out on it a long time ago. Got sick of it.
What do you watch now? What do you like? What kind of stuff are you?
Oh, we actually, we watch mostly vintage stuff. We don't watch a lot of modern anything. So we go through this rotation every day where, like on Wednesday right now, it was an episode of Knight Rider and then an episode of the 90s Flash or something like that. Or Tuesday, it's the Linda Carter Wonder Woman, and then and then 2 episodes of the 66 Batman, because they're chapters.
Yeah, you got to watch them together, or you're not. It doesn't work. Yeah.
So we do it like that. So, and we don't binge anything. We never binge. You miss a lot if you binge.
I find when you binge, it becomes a mesh. Like you don't really know this episode versus this episode. Just they blend together after a while.
Yeah, you get confused. So
I found that with comics. Like when I read comics, people will say, "Oh, they mentioned some comic by number," and I'm like, I'm not sure if it was this book or this, which issue where the story was that, but yeah, so that's good that you don't binge.
We do, and then we do a thing on the weekend with movies. One of the things that we like to do is watch a lot of vintage kung fu films.
Oh wow, okay.
I've seen 100 of those. For the 70s Hong Kong releases with the bad dubbing.
Yeah.
People jump through the air and you hear pigeons, and it's just
it's awesome. No, I like those ones. I used to watch a lot of those. Jackie Chan, obviously, but what's the other guy? He's sort of thicker. Something, is it Fat? Something.
Oh, Samo.
I'm trying to remember his name. I don't remember his name.
I think it's Samo. He used to work with Jackie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the acrobat school together or whatever.
Yeah, there's like a theater school where they learn all this stuff, right?
Yeah, there were 3 of them that came up together. But yeah, he's a heavy set guy, and he actually even had a Western television show on ABC at one point where he was an exchange police officer who did a lot of martial arts, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember the name of the show.
Yeah, no, I like those kung fu movies. What you should watch? This is a funny one. This is a bit horror, but also kung fu. 5 Venoms. Do you know that one?
The 5 Deadly Venoms.
Yes.
5 Deadly Venoms, 5 Fingers of Death.
Yeah, so 5 Deadly Venom. It's like kids, though, right?
And then they grow up.
Yeah, no, it's kid kung fu guys, and there's like mummy, like not like zombies in it. Is that?
No, that's not it. I don't think that's the one.
Okay, so it's something 5 Venoms.
They have a few with like zombies and stuff, and it's funny because they always go like this and they hop.
Yeah, they hop. That's the one I'm talking about.
They don't walk, they hop.
Yeah, they hop. And then if you breathe or make any noise, they go whoop. they kind of.
The one we saw the other day, and I can't remember the name of it. They had those zombies, but they also had Dracula, and the Dracula was a Western guy.
Oh wow!
He was actually a Caucasian guy, but he's like tearing around through the air, just whipping around and spinning, and it was hilarious watching them. And then there's the one with the zombies. No, there's a vampire one that had Peter Cushing in it for real.
Oh wow!
Peter Cushing is in it, but it is a Chinese film.
Oh, that's weird.
He's playing Van Helsing. Come to China to kill their Dracula.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I never heard of that one. Peter Cushing is great.
Peter Cushing kung fu movie. If you type that in, you'll find it.
Oh wow! Okay, the name of it. That's definitely something I have to watch.
But I was like, that is nuts. When you find stuff like that, it's just hilarious. Or who is it? The master of the guillotine, and it's the blind monk, and he's got the hat, and he throws it, and the basket falls out of the hat over someone's head, and he snaps the cord, and their head pops off.
Oh wow, that's pretty crazy.
I think it's called Master Guillotine, and everybody's scared of him, and they all freeze and they don't move because they know he's listening because he's blind.
Oh, okay.
My God, and then you could be like a mile away, and he's like, ah,
and then
whips the chain and pops your head off.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of martial art movies, and I like hokey stuff. I think I like a lot of campy movies.
But yeah, we enjoy a lot of that kind of stuff, and we watch all kinds of old and vintage films. So we find it's better than the new stuff. You get tired of waiting for a new film to come out, and then it sucks. And then and anything that was done like 20 years ago and older is better.
Yeah.
Just better written, better acted. The acting in a lot of the modern films is just dismal. It's like, God, you're not even trying. I like looking at these things, or like the Acolyte was the one a lot of people have been crying about recently, and I saw a little bit of that, and I was like, where did they find this girl? She has no alteration in her voice, no change in her facial expressions. She just memorized the lines. But I'm seeing a lot of that with these modern people, where they're just like, I'm just going to
good actors nowadays.
Yeah, and it's like, where's the emoting? Give me a break. And it's very frustrating. And you watch these older shows and movies, and man, they're pouring their guts out. Even like we said, the Batman 66, and it's meant to be a parody. Look how seriously they're taking those parts. That's what sells it and makes it funny, is how over the top serious they are with their role.
Well, I saw a really great interview that kind of really makes you understand the dynamic between modern actors and more traditional actors. It was with what's it, Victor Weaving, or what's the guy that played Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings. So he basically when they asked him, about the role and stuff, he was like, yeah, I really want to understand Tolkien's vision of the character. I really want to understand what it was that Tolkien was trying to envision the character would be and how he would act. And I really want to use my craft to try to be that as much as possible. Okay? So that's how he talked. He really respected the creator of that character, right? And then they modern version of it, they interviewed the people from Rings of Power, and they said, the way that they spoke was, I'm so excited to play this role because I'm going to be the first black elf, or and I'm really going to bring my personality to it, and I'm going to make this role about I'm going to really make it my personality shine through the character.
And that defeats the purpose.
So it's one is acting, and one is, I have no idea what it is. I don't know what that is.
Projecting.
Yeah, projecting. Yeah. So that, I think that it really shows how the modern mentality has changed, and it's not for the better. But actually, to give you some hope, I did watch the recent Aliens movie. If you're a fan of that series, it was good. I really liked the android guy. I forgot his name now, but he was awesome. He was really good. He kind of he played the role really, really well. I actually liked him as he was my favorite character in the movie. They did a really good job with that movie. It fell apart a little bit at the end, but for the most part, it was quite good.
Oh, Rad Art says Hard Boiled. I've seen that. That's a good martial. Hard Boiled. Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too.
That movie is nuts. And Nostalgic is saying hello to Alan. Nostalgic Quad Blast, who also has a very nostalgic channel that you can find on here if you're looking for him. And I recommend checking it out. He's got a lot of he'll easily win a trivia contest if it's about vintage television. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a chance over at Nostalgic Pod Blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and that's a good point, because a lot of people, I'm the first this and we're going to change that, and it's like, how about the vision of what they were trying to do? I've talked about that and used the example of Wrath of Khan. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, because I've seen a documentary on it, and the guy who was like the chief writer on that, he didn't know anything about Star Trek. And he's like, and he was like, so I went back and I watched every episode of the original Star Trek.
That's right? What you do.
Yeah, and then he says, looking for something. I want to see what people saw in this. I wanted to see what
the creators, if there was
anything there that really stood out to me. And when he came across the one with Khan, was it Khan Noonien Sung?
I forgot what the episode was called, but
yeah, and he's I remember the ship was the Botany Bay.
Botany Bay, yes, that's right.
I don't know if I remember the name of the show, but he watched it and it clicked with him. It resonated, and he was like, I wonder if I could do something with this. I wonder if Ricardo Montalban is still available. Arguably the best Star Trek film that's ever been done.
It was my favorite. It actually kind of scared me, like when they put the things in the people's ears.
Oh yeah, that was freaky.
That was freaky.
That's creepy, because you could imagine that being done. But arguably the best Star Trek film that's ever been done to date, literally. Yeah,
it was the Kirk, like that was
Even though they never met, the two of them never made contact during
the real life.
In the filming of that movie, the way that the scheduling was, and with him still doing Fantasy Island, they actually never met.
But if you think about it, they never do meet in the movie either, because they're in different ships and stuff. And
but they didn't meet in that's why it was filmed that way, because they couldn't get face to face, because the way the scheduling was. They still made it work, and there was a lot of good acting in it. And then, of course, Ricardo Montalban was in great shape anyway, so they didn't have to do anything for him.
I know,
it's like, hey, let's
he's
put
a
this
pretty
guy in
buff
the
dude,
net.
actually.
Yeah. Munin wants to know if Rings of Power was worse than The Acolyte. I have no idea. I've heard they're both awful.
Okay, so we were talking about issues with modern writing. One of the other things that they try to do, and I actually used to think this was a cool idea, but now I'm realizing it's a bad idea. So when Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings, his idea was orcs, all of the Sauron, all those bad people are bad people. They're evil to their core. They're not like shades of evil. They're evil. And then good people like elves and all these ones are good, and humans maybe a little bit of mix, right?
Yeah.
But you have good versus evil at the end of the day. It's a morality play, okay? And that works because you see the threat of the orcs. They're representing that they're going to be evil and they're going to sweep through your lands and destroy everything. So that is a real threat. Makes sense. In Rings of Power, the orcs, they have children, they have families. They're not so bad. They're just misunderstood. But they do bad things because, well, you're in the way of their.
And I thought that they were grown anyways, not like males and females.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then they did the same thing because everybody in the first Rings of Power or whatever, the first season, which was a bomb. I don't know why they made a season 2, but
I think they've already allocated the money for it.
I see.
And I think they're going to make 6 seasons or something crazy like that.
God.
Yeah, so any soul that's in that book will be destroyed by then.
Wow. But they made a big deal that you're all upset because the elf queen is or the dwarf queen is black, but the real argument was that she didn't have a beard. Because dwarf women also had beards in his storyline.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
And that's what, but of course they're going to put a spin on it to make it seem like everybody's racist or something.
Here's my thing. Like, I don't mind, like, if they made black dwarves and had all the dwarves being black, I would be totally fine with that. There's this sect of dwarves, they all live together, they're all black. I could totally see that. But if you have like every civilization, and that these civilizations are all isolated, and they've been isolated for hundreds, if not thousands of years, it doesn't make sense that they're all diverse. You know what I mean? It just genetics doesn't work that way. People would mix and they would have like sort of a uniformed look after a while. So every time I see like, there's a black dwarf, there's an Asian dwarf, there's a white dwarf, there's like a whatever type of dwarf, I just don't feel like it makes sense. It takes me out of the realism of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense that they'd be diverse. Like, there's a scene where they find this lost tribe of Harfoots because they can't use the word hobbit, so they have to use Harfoots. And there's this lost tribe that they haven't seen for thousands of years. For thousands of years, they've been isolated for literally thousands of years. And there's like Asian Harfoots and black Harfoots and like Indian Harfoots. There's like it's like the United Nation of Harfoots, which doesn't make any sense. Like, but you can tell that when diversity is forced, it comes across that way. And I guess that's the way that they do it.
Yeah, that's the identity politics for you.
Yeah.
And Nostalgic reminds us that episode was Space Seed from season 1.
Space Seed. Yeah, I think I knew that actually. Way back in the day, and still at my parents' house, I have like the encyclopedia of Star Trek, and it had every episode explained, and I used to read it all the time. I loved it as a kid.
Okay.
I was a big Star Trek fan as a kid.
Yeah, I like that show too, but I mean, I've probably seen every episode in reruns 20 times growing up.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Certain shows like that, Welcome Back, Kotter, The Monkees, Brady Bunch that just in syndication, it just got run over again and again and again.
Yeah, I was a big Three's Company fan as well. That was the other big one I watched a lot.
There was a spinoff from a couple of spinoffs from Three's Company.
Yeah, from the Roper. The Ropers were later. What was the spinoff? What was the spinoff from? I forgot the.
There was another one about where Jack goes off on his own, and after he got the restaurant.
Yeah, I saw that one too. That only lasted one season though.
One season wonder, yeah. It flopped. Yeah. But yeah, if you can imagine a show like that even getting a spin-off, because it's just such a goofy show. I don't get it, you know. I don't see that. Anyways, I know you're probably curious. I did bring some books, Alan.
Oh, okay. Show me some books.
I did bring some books because I know you love the show and tell.
Yeah.
You love the show and tell.
Well, I'm sort of like holding off on that until
yeah.
Your better half came.
I can show you mine. She's seen these.
Okay.
There's I don't know if I need to blow this up.
Yeah, you can make yourself big and you can get rid of me. Yeah.
There you go.
Space Corps?
Space Giants from FBN. And this is completely newspaper print, even the cover.
Well, it looks like, very thin paper.
That's a tough one. And it's black and white inside.
When is this from?
From like, what, 1976, I think?
Oh, wow. I've never seen this
one of those,
before.
yeah, magazine size. But you never see these. And this is another kind of bin pick.
Very odd. Okay.
It's one of those ones where you pull it out of the bin and they're like, oh, no, you didn't find that in there. Charlton Comics best new cartoons.
Oh, those are good. Those are actually quite cool.
And these are super thick.
There's some like Bill Ward art in some of those, and like some really good artists involved.
She's back. I'll move over.
Here,
There she is. You had me worried.
Hey, everybody.
He has not shown any of his yet. I'm just showing a few of mine for Alan.
Well, first, Alan, I want to apologize for leaving out like that. That's very rude and unprofessional, but I want to apologize to you and David and everybody in the room. Forgive me. An opportunity came up and I couldn't let it pass.
Don't worry, we talked bad about you the whole time, so don't
worry. No, you didn't, because I was listening to the live.
Don't worry.
And y'all was talking about, and I wanted to say this about y'all was talking about rings of power or whatever, and how, because I thought about that because you were just now talking about the diversity and everything, and I was watching. They had the you remember Vikings was on, and then it went off, and then they did like a continuation of Vikings. And you know, Vikings is Norsemen from where? Like Iceland or somewhere like that.
Well, Iceland and like Scandinavia, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly, but it's all whites. So they had this black queen, and I'm like,
yeah, I mean, it didn't make any sense at all. Yeah, and it was all male dominated too at the time, right? You're not going to send out women. Like cross the ocean and fighting with and
it felt forced. I mean, when it first started, they were all whites, and then they met this Asian girl because they went somewhere.
Yeah,
and there was an agent, and then
Ragnar killed her anyway. But
yeah, and then they went to the Middle East or somewhere, and then they saw Muslims. So that made sense. But then when the continuation came up, the queen is now black, and it's like, where did she even come from? You know, because they were still in wherever they were. I can't remember the name of that village they were in. But it's like, how'd she get there? And how did she get to be queen? So
it just doesn't make any sense. But But yeah, actually, I think the reason they do that is actually there's now a quota that they have to abide by if they want to be nominated for an award. So you have to have like minority representation.
Yeah, and
a certain percentage always within on screen at any moment and stuff like that.
Keep your damn award. I think of John Belushi.
Exactly.
John Belushi got an award once, and there's a video clip of him talking about it because he's on stage accepting this award, right? And I forget what the award was, but he says, "I appreciate this because you actually have to earn this one, and we're getting to the point where all the rest of them you got to pay for them now."
Yeah.
But, like, wow.
But it's true. You have to pay for the music, the TV awards, movie awards, and it's like, is it worth anything to say that you're an Oscar winner or Grammy, 5-time Grammy winner or whatever, when nowadays you buy that?
When you checked boxes to get it instead of busting your ass.
Yeah, where it's not about talent anymore. I think the real switch was when Halle Berry and what's his name?
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. Now Denzel Washington totally deserved it. He was awesome.
In Training Day.
Yeah.
He was awesome. I thought totally deserved it. Halle Berry, oh my goodness. I was embarrassed by her performance. Like, I really didn't think she deserved it. I really was like,
but I never heard anything good about it. I never saw it because she brought it for like
you watch it and it's one of those movies where you watch it and you're cringing because it's like so bad.
Totally forgotten film now. It's like
it was Monster. What's the name of the movie?
Monster.
The only thing that's good about it is you get to see her boobs. That's the one good thing.
Well, you can do that in Swordfish, and the movie's stupid, but at least it's fun.
She should have won for that. I think Swordfish, she should have won for Swordfish. Any movie where she shows her boobs, she should win. I think that's
the criteria.
That's the criteria. But
Paranoid Android said you was mean to him.
Oh, well, maybe this will make up for it. How about this?
Oh, David Sean.
Oh, awesome. That's a Superior comic, by the way.
Yeah, Strange Mysteries #7.
What does that mean, Superior comics?
Superior means that it comes from a great country to your north, Canada.
It's a Canadian.
Canada.
The company is called Superior.
Oh, okay.
But
that's a nice one.
Yeah, I like
that's
that.
an awesome book, by the way.
And these, I can't resist these when they come up.
Oh wow, I love the Flintstones.
Flintstone #1. And this that's a thick sucker too.
Yeah, it's like the giant size ones.
But I got a couple of these, and they're in usually awful condition. They're usually beat to death.
But that one looks really nice, actually.
This one's very clean. Yeah, it's tough to find them in decent shape.
Usually, like any kids' comics are just like destroyed, like mangled.
Like this one, Gold Key, the Hanna-Barbera Bandwagon. And this is actually #2. Another really thick book. But again, another one that's especially square bound. These are really tough.
Yeah, usually the square bounds, like they'll crack or break.
FBI #1 by Dell.
Oh, that's cool.
Man Against Crime.
One man against all the crime.
Man Against
in the world.
Crime. I like stuff like that, or weird stuff. I Am the Stars, which is a film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I think that's really cool. I mean, Dell produced so many cool things. Like these would be like the first appearance of those characters from the movie, right?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Little
Lotta in Foodland #4, but this is damn near a 9698 candidate. It's like perfect. And again, is it worth a fortune? Probably not. But the condition.
No, you get it slabbed, and it is worth a fortune.
Hard to find like this.
I do a lot of these, like top sales from the Golden Age, Silver Age, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And whenever those books like that, and it's like a 9.6 or some crazy grade, they go for actually a fair amount of money, just because nobody can find. There's no way you could find another copy of that.
Like these, the Walt Disney Man in Space with Satellites from Dell.
Oh wow, I've seen that one before, actually. That's a cool one though. The Sputnik and
Sputnik there.
Yeah. So where do you find these? Like
Mostly it shows. Mostly
Okay.
a lot of these, a handful of these are bin picks. You
So,
know,
what's funny? Whenever I go to shows, I just find it's all modern junk for the most part. It's not. We don't really get good stuff around here.
Really, we have some good
good local shows. Yeah.
vintage dealers. It's one guy. He comes around and he has like all vintage Batman. I mean, when I say vintage, I mean golden age.
The Atlanta Comic Convention. You can only find him at only that show.
Yeah.
And his stuff.
Can you afford him?
No.
No. Nobody can.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like full runs of like golden age Batman and Captain Marvel and all kinds of stuff like that. Real nice stuff.
Yeah, if you look at our last Atlanta Comic Convention video,
I think he's the first person.
Yeah, he's like the first person, and that was the second time he was there, and that's all he has is golden age Batman. Wow. And it's in nice condition. It's not rough. It's not torn. I don't think it's graded. I think everything is loose, if I can remember right. Is loose.
Yeah, he don't have any graded books.
But whoa.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that stuff's really cool, but I'm like, I almost want to say, oh, I wish you had a beat up copy just so I could afford it. I mean,
like, yeah, so you can afford it on the spot. I mean, who's coming out there with $20,000 in their pocket?
Exactly.
I mean, maybe you got it in your PayPal and you can transfer it.
Yeah.
To him. But then a lot of people out there, they don't even take PayPal because he's an older guy, and a lot of the older vendors, they only want cash.
They only do cash, right?
Yeah.
But who has that much cash?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. That's the first Vicky Vale cover, by the way.
Yes, number 79 there. I just I cleaned and pressed this one not too long ago.
That's really nice. Yeah. I have a beat up copy of that.
Yeah, this one's really clean.
That looks nice. The spine looks like really good. Wow, nice.
And then
we got Ghost.
A couple of these. I love these. I
love these. Some of the laughs are pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, some of the old school Archies. I really like.
I gravitate to all the innuendo covers or bikini covers.
Yeah, those are always cute.
Those are getting more and more expensive all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you told me one time, Alan, you don't have a big romance collection.
Yeah, probably back then, but now I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, now I have I have a full long box and then another like banker's box just filled with romance, and then another. I have 3 boxes that are all romance now. So
okay, so the next time you come on, you're gonna show me all of your romance.
I'm not sure about all, but I can show you a few. Okay. I'd say I have about 300-400. Oh, what was that? There was some sound.
Yeah, it was some bumping. Those silly cats up there, they bounce around and do all of this, do all of that. But okay.
Yeah, that might have been Uncle. He weighs 25 pounds. If he jumps off something, you'll hear it.
Wow, that's a big cat.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Nick Halliday,
short covers.
number 1 from Argo Comics, Golden Age. That's not quite. It's 1956, I think.
I never heard the title before, but it's very cool. I love shark covers. I love how the way that they drew them, and they're not really quite accurate. I was like,
and another Argo there, the Berries number 1.
Oh, that's cool.
Which
now,
I don't.
Do you find you collect those kind of small titles like Argo or Tower?
Yeah, these are cool. If I could, decent shape and number 1 issues, they're just odd enough. It's weird enough, different enough.
Mm-hmm.
Or here's a good one for you: Gold Keys, the Owl number 1.
That's a cool book. Actually, I was looking for a copy of that because it is just such a weird, obscure one.
It is weird. And this is another one, again, tough to find. Another bin pull, or like this one.
Very nice.
This one, they totally overlooked this one.
Oh, wow.
Steve Zodiac, Fireball XL5. You know what that is, right?
I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
Fireball XL5, Jerry Anderson. It's a Jerry Anderson production, like Thunderbirds.
Is that, I was going to say, is it Thunderbirds? That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Super Marionation. This is his second production. The first one was Supercar.
So I always found that those super animation, the little puppets and stuff were a little bit creepy. I don't know why.
Can be, yeah, with the facial expressions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fireball XL5 is his second one. It was a black and white comic, and black and white show. And this is the first issue from that.
So did they actually make a TV that was based on the TV series?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
It was because he did all TV series.
But they didn't mimic the style of the series inside the comic. They just went with.
No, it doesn't look like. Yeah, you can see from the artworit. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't look like animation marionettes.
It doesn't look like marionettes. Creepy marionettes.
I always liked the toys though. The toys were pretty cool from those series. Oh, that's a good one. That's actually my favorite cover of the one, because the headlight cover.
Yeah.
I love how the skeleton looks like that's what he's looking at.
I know. It looks like he's like totally gonna grab her, right?
I was gonna haunt you, but hey, wait a minute. Can I give you my number instead?
You know, it looks like he's gonna do like his like Tune in Tokyo, or some kind of like some pervy thing,
You notice she's not wearing a red dress.
I know, it's a purple dress, but it's still a good one.
Yeah, I like this one.
The damsel in the red dress.
And it's number 17, but it's not really number 17 because you know how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have the complete run of it. But,
wow, there you go.
Yeah, I have all the. Yeah.
See, and I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff too. Super Circus #1.
Oh wow, creepy clowns, great.
Yeah. With actual photographs of real people from the circus that you would never know who the hell they are.
Yeah. But way back in the day, clowns were really popular. Like, in the 50s, they were super popular.
Yeah, and somehow they got scary.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah. It's just
they got in movies, and then it became scary from movies.
And then you had serial killers like Gacy, right?
Killer Clown from Outer Space and all of those.
Well, John Wayne Gacy was a clown, and he drove an ice cream truck.
Oh, because I was like, ice cream man. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you'll like this one too.
Oh, wow. That is cool. Very cool. I think those ones are really underrated, by the way.
Yeah.
The
you were talking about that in a recent video with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I think Wonder Woman is not so much as he's underrated. I think people are just starting to get tired of it because DC really has been pounding out the female characters for a few years now. And it's like, give us a freaking break already. Plus, they've really overpowered her.
That happens with all the characters, though. That they get this power creep where they have to save the world, and then the world's not big enough. We got to save the universe.
Because like for example, we watched the animated Red Sun, Superman Red Sun.
I'd like to watch that. Actually, I haven't seen it yet.
I've read the book, and it's pretty close, but they put Wonder Woman in it, and she's not in the book, right?
Okay.
She's not in the book, but they put her in it, and she's stronger than him. And it's like, no, wait a minute.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute now, because you're not just talking about a traditional Superman. When he gets that killer instinct, he's a lot more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna, he'll throw a punch, and she can just, no, not today, that kind of thing. And it's like, give me a break.
Oh, really? That's weird. Because her power level is just like strength-wise is just a little bit not as strong as Superman. Superman is like Superman.
Yeah, the most powerful man in the universe.
But all of those characters are like Harley Quinn. I mean, now it's like Thomas Wayne can't even shoot her because she's such a great acrobat. Yeah, and it's like, come on now. The only Harley Quinn I can tolerate is the one from the original Batman animated series. The rest
I love the original. I liked her kind of goofiness, and she was kind of like a low-level criminal.
Yeah, it doesn't need more
like
than that.
Catwoman almost a little bit.
Yeah,
not the modern Catwoman.
No, but I mean, just like, well, she was like Joker's sidekick.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me fix that back. So that we,
Right.
yeah, there's Alan again. And if Alan wanted to do any show and tell, because I know people are chomping
I have
at
a few that I can show.
Okay.
Please do. And we'll hold on.
So
We'll
this is the one that I was talking about.
we'll blow you up here.
I just grabbed this for
There
you.
he is.
What do you think of that one?
This
is the original. Mine's like pretty beat, but it is.
Hey, you got the real one. I got the reprint.
But you
I thought yours was the real one. I was really thinking it was the real one.
And then you were like, God, it looks like a 9.4.
I was like, wow, it's like I was like so jealous.
No.
I didn't notice like
that's a good read though. Those are some good
I'll definitely read it. I won't read this copy, but I'll read it online. I always read them online.
There you go.
And then like I'll show you some more. This one was in my video today actually.
Uh-huh.
I was mentioning this one.
Oh, you got to flip your camera around, isn't it? Yeah.
He's backwards again.
You're backwards.
I'm backwards? Wait, how do I do that?
You got to do the mirror.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
No.
No.
I think
it's a setting. You can do it later.
Wait. Settings? One sec here.
Yeah, and then mirror. Oh, well, you turned it around. Now we're looking
still backwards. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Wait,
we'll muddle through.
Yeah.
No, now I messed it all up. One sec here.
You got to turn it back to you. Yeah.
And Alan takes that Scotch tape and he puts it right on the covers and tears it off.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, I can't.
It's okay. It's
no,
okay.
No, you
Alan.
got to turn it back around now so we can see him. I'm sorry, Alan. I should have left you alone.
There he is.
Okay, there you go.
It's okay, Alan.
I can't get it to work. I don't know. Sorry, I tried.
You got to do it later, but
we'll go backwards. Just learn to read backwards. Just come on.
Hey, you know what? It's a good thing you have a clean desk because there would be something if you flipped it around and there's all this like porno,
it's all porn and
naked pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I removed that just before this, so that was good.
That's a popular cover with.
I bought this. This is a pure cover buy. I just always found this cover just really cool. And another one I just like. See, I don't mind buying restored.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like these. I always like these beach covers, like where the monster is coming out of the, and got the people on the beach. I don't know. It's always cool.
She's wearing purple too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's wearing purple. That's true. Yeah. Okay, and then this is like, actually, a lot of these were on my list today, strangely. This one, the zombie.
Menace.
Yeah, so this is the first appearance of this character. Really cool character, by the way. Basically, what happens is he's he's a boss of a company, and he's just driving everyone crazy. He's just really annoying boss. So his employees kill him.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm. And they kill him in the most brutal way, right? And then, but they're not happy with the fact that they've killed him. They want to go one step further. They just want to keep on torturing him. So they hire a voodoo priestess to bring him back to life, so that they can torture him still afterwards.
That's too much.
Yeah, but the voodoo priestess was actually his secretary, and she actually loved him, so she brings him back, but does it in such a way that they can't torture him. So. It's kind of
weird.
But this is actually from the Roger Hill collection. You can see the little sticker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, he was a big collector of like pre-code horror books. Massive collection.
So it's a pedigree, but it's restored, so you don't get the pedigree label?
No, it doesn't. It's from the collection of. So pedigrees, the difference between from the collection of and pedigree is that if you bought the books from the shelf, then it's a pedigree. They're originally bought from the store and they're in your collection. So the Roger Hill collection, he just bought like whatever random books and he curated a collection of books.
Okay.
So it gets it doesn't get the pedigree status.
Oh well.
Oh well, still cool.
Yeah.
Here's another cool one.
Manhunt.
Manhunt.
Well, she found one.
Yeah.
And this one's cool because look, she's like, they're pushing her into the electric chair. Oh, I gave myself a thumbs down. You got the guy in the background is just like sort of watching and toasting it as it's happening. So it's really cool. Dinner entertainment, basically.
Yeah, there you go. Dinner and a show.
Yeah, so a dinner date with death is what it says on the cover. And this is one of my favorite LB Cole covers.
Oh.
Weird Terror Tales. It's this really cool werewolf guy. Oh, this one I give myself a thumbs up. It's really annoying how the iPhone does that, where it picks up your fingers and then gives you like little emojis. But look at the detail, like the little devil guy and stuff, and the candle with the skull.
Yeah.
Like the detail is pretty awesome.
Cole's work because he uses a lot of color to help show the shadows and the emotions and stuff like that, and it's really detailed.
Yeah,
I mean all the fur and everything.
Yeah, I mean the details. Look at all the little skulls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. There's like a hooded figure too. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then down here, there's a guy coming out of the ground. Like it just says hands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. I really like LB Cole. I'm a big fan. And what else? Another one that I really love collecting is Bill Ward.
I heard that name before.
Yeah, he did a lot of good stuff. He was the one that created Torchy.
Mm-hmm.
And he also, like that magazine that you showed with the cartoons, he did a lot of the the more sexy stuff inside. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, they're not exactly kids' cartoons.
Yeah, if you ever see breasts where it looks like they're like almost like missiles that can poke your eyes out, that's Bill Ward.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the easiest way to describe it. So, but yeah. But he did these really great romance covers. So here's a bit of romance for you there.
Hey.
So yeah, but so that's Flaming Love, and then another title. This one is under the radar actually, where people don't realize who it is. But I'm positive it's Alex Schomburg that did the covers for these. It doesn't actually even denote it on the slab. But Alex Schomburg covers go for a fair amount, and these ones are under the radar right now. So I'm trying to quietly pick them up, to tell you the truth.
Well, but don't spread it around.
Yeah, but they're fairly affordable right now. But they're hard to find is the problem.
Yeah.
So, but some pretty cool stuff. And then here I'll show a couple more.
Ooh,
some dark mysteries.
I always like these ones where you got like the zombie guy in behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you guys watch the original what is it called? The zombie movie from the 60s.
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead. Oh my goodness, I was blanking on it. You know, the scene where, he's pretending to be the zombie and the girl's like, oh, don't act like a zombie and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden a zombie comes from behind them, grabs them, right? That's like such a trope. Whenever you're in the graveyard, that's always what happens, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I have a really funny graveyard story. Like when I was a kid, it was kind of a cool thing, like when you're a teenager, to be sort of rebellious and go into the graveyards, right? At night, And so I was with my friends and we were like trying to scare each other in the graveyard and stuff. And, it's like it's like all silly. You know, we were like, oh, we're too mature to be scared by this stuff. And I was sort of walking, and all of a sudden I just disappeared. Like I literally disappeared because what somebody had done, I don't know why they did this, but there was a grave, and they didn't have a chance. Like it was just an empty grave that they had dug out for maybe the next day.
Yeah,
And instead of
it up.
what?
They were probably setting it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, but they had it dug, and they put sod over it though. So the sod was literally just hanging over it. Like it wasn't like, so it was open grave with like something that you couldn't tell that it was an open grave.
It was a booby trap.
Basically it was a booby trap for people like me. So when I walked over, I literally fell into a grave. I just like dropped all of a sudden. It's pretty freaky. So yeah, so that happened to me. So I can totally relate to this comic. So, and I got one more one. Just Dark Mysteries had a lot of really awesome covers. So there's this kind of a similar idea. You know, you got the guy that they murdered and he's coming back to get them. I don't know why. Why would you? Okay, you just murdered somebody. Why would you go? Why would you go to the grave to, like, you know?
Maybe they felt bad.
Maybe they felt bad. The guys pay their respects at night in front of the full moon, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Go back and double check.
Yeah. And I'll show you one of my favorite covers from the run. Just because it's so crazy. This is like the guy, they're like, no, don't kill me. I don't want to die. Butcher, you killed us with your beef. Now hang with the rest of your poisoned meat.
Okay.
And they're gonna hang him on the hook. Isn't that awesome? So,
oh my.
That was such a crazy cover. I really like it. So a lot of these Dark Mysteries have like skeletons on them. Like you'll notice that kind of common theme. And you'll probably recognize this next book. It's a famous cover. War Fury.
Oh.
This is War Fury #1. And what's famous about it is the guy right there.
Yeah, he got shot in the head.
Yeah. And the guy's using the flamethrower on him.
Yeah, you got the flamethrower. But what they did, this head, they actually used that head on a different comic where they blew it up and made it made it the image. So you normally see it like that way.
Oh.
And it was on a book called Horrific #6, I believe. Oh, Horrific #3. Sorry, Horrific #3. And Horrific #3 is like an ultra expensive comic. Well, this one predated it, and it's the same head. So, but it's actually I think it's actually a cooler cover because you got the flamethrowing.
There's a lot more going on.
Yeah, pretty crazy cover. Okay, wait. And then here's another Alex Schomburg. I like my bondage covers.
Black Terror.
The Black Terror.
Black Terror. And this is Black Terror #24 from 1948. And it's a really good, I just like the bondage cover kind of element. I'm not sure why she's wearing like it's kind of like a little
I Dream a Genie.
I Dream a Genie.
Yeah, that see-through outfit. That doesn't make any sense.
She could get away. Come on.
She's not trying.
She ain't trying.
Yeah. Maybe it was like he totally misunderstood the situation or something. I don't know.
I mean, he does have money.
Yeah, he's got her money and her jewels and everything.
Maybe he was bringing those.
Yeah, maybe maybe it was a bit more.
Yeah, a bit more going on.
That was
here.
payment.
Yeah.
Dude, stop! You don't understand.
Let me explain.
Oh no.
And then we got
What's that says? Georgia?
It's Georgie.
Georgie. Georgie.
So she's like tailoring a dress, and she's got him being the guinea pig to, and the guys. This is like so they wouldn't do this nowadays, but they're like totally making fun of him for wearing a dress.
Yeah.
And his face is all red.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
And a series that I've been trying to get like a complete run of. This is one I'm hoping to get a run of. Is Tessie the Typist?
Mm-hmm. Is that like a romance or Archie or?
It's kind of more like Archie, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like humor,
Yeah.
But it at the time. This is like late 40s, 1948. From 1947 to like 1950. Archie, not Archie, but Marvel really was into Good Girl. They would make a lot of Good Girl comics, like Tessie the Typist, Georgie, Millie the Model, a whole bunch of different ones, Hetty, and there's a whole bunch. They had about almost 20 different titles for Good Girl art comics, and at the time they weren't really producing any like superhero stuff. It was all Good Girl basically. So I really enjoy them. I find the artwork's quite fun and cute. So I like Tessie. It's one that I like. So I've been trying to get like a little run going of that. So that's what I brought to show. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed those ones.
Of course.
We did. We always enjoy seeing the books.
Yeah, you got quite an impressive collection, obviously.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
And actually we've been on for more than 2 hours.
Yeah. So by the way,
yes.
I do a Friday show. I'm not sure if you've ever caught it, but where it's basically an open hangout. If you guys ever want to come, you're always invited. I'll send you guys a link if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Yeah, it's 7 Eastern. I do it. So, So definitely feel free to come.
All right, we appreciate it. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up.
Yeah, thank everybody for spending time with us and hanging out and looking at Alan Great books and talking about modern shows and the direction.
Random stuff.
Yeah, the direction of the industry, some of the things and the grading and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to consider.
So, but thank you again.
And we will